It's Thursday, which means it's Linux Day on the Lunduke Show, and I am joined, thank God, by Matt Hartley. Matt, you weren't here last week.
I wasn't.
I was so lonely. I was all alone. No
I
one
did
was
notice
over
some
here.
hugging going on there. It was a little weird. But that's okay.
It was really weird. Oh, thank God you're back, my friend.
Yeah.
I can't do this solo. It's
back.
too hard. The demands of this incredibly taxing show are just too much for one man to bear.
Well, yeah, and of course, you can't do this in Linux. I mean, naturally. I mean, we do it in Linux, but it can't be done in Linux.
No.
And that just makes it that much harder.
It's
because
that
of
much
insert reason here.
harder.
Yeah.
All right. We have like literally a metric butt ton of questions today, and to make matters worse, there is a ton of stuff going on that we have to talk about right up front. I don't know how we're going to pull this off, and yet I am just rambling needlessly about nothing in particular already. What am I doing? I'm wasting time. All right, let's start with this. I got an email. I got an email in from James Mason, our buddy up at Linux Fest Northwest. He wanted us to know that today, literally as we're recording this, Thursday, April 5th, is the last day to register as an individual sponsor of Linux Fest Northwest. For those of you who don't know, it's a free to attend show, but if you register as a sponsor, like you pay something and then you get like t-shirts. Well, I'm just gonna read the email. Today's the last day for individual sponsors to get their t-shirt guaranteed reserved at the fest. After today, it's best effort delivery, including mailing out shirts if we have to, but we don't want to. We want to hand people their shirts at the fest and watch their eyes light up. Smiley face. Also, I think they want to be lazy and not have to mail things out. I'm kind of with them on that. Individual sponsors also get a Linux Fest Northwest pint glass. I know a lot of you like the booze hauling. This will help you with that. And 2 lunch tickets. They have like a lunch thing at Linux Fest Northwest every year. That's actually pretty decent. And normally you have to pay, but this includes the tickets. Individual supporters, it's only $10 with a pint glass. Will have guaranteed delivery for a while still. Individual donations are bigger for Linux Fest Northwest than any individual corporate sponsor by 2 to 1. They quite literally make the fest happen, so keep them coming. If you go to linuxfestnorthwest.org.com, lfnw.org, and click the big orange register button, that'll get you guys there. But they wanted to make sure that people knew about that because it's kind of part of how they put the conference on every year. Here's the big website. It's awesome. There are some incredible people that are going to be there this year. Not just me and Matt, though me and Matt are really, really pretty. You probably want to go and just be like, you guys are so pretty. I would like to groom you. But you can't because we don't have enough time for grooming at Linux Fest Northwest because Bradley Kuhn of the Software Freedom Conservancy is going to be there. Frank Karlachek, the CEO and creator of Nextcloud, who also created OwnCloud, is going to be there. A representative from the ACLU is going to be there. Seth Schoen from the EFF is going to be there. It's absolutely bonkers. There's so much going on. Actually, Seth Schoen, myself, and the conference organizer, James Mason, we all got put into a giant Faraday cage and zapped by a giant Tesla coil at a conference party several years back. There's a video for that on the website. It's really wicked cool. Anyway, you guys want to get there. It's April 28th and 29th, but mostly April 28th because that's when me and Matt are there doing our show. That's the important bit. It's free to attend, but if you pay a little bit of money, you get a shirt and a pint glass and some lunch tickets. So
yeah, they feed you.
There you go.
Food. Come on, people.
Right, but you have to do that. If you want to do that, you have to do that today, Thursday, because I believe they're sending in the orders for everything tomorrow, Friday morning. So if you miss the cutoff, you screwed up. You screwed up and you messed up and you did a real bad job and your mom is real disappointed in you.
So you hit pause on this. You open up a new tab in your browser.
Yeah, go do that now, then come back. Okay. Also, somebody made a new T-shirt. This is if you go to freedompenguin.com/ I kid you not, shirt 2. It's the most awesome URL ever. You get this unrestricted Software Freedom US shirt. This is great, dude.
Yeah, so the premise is kind of fun. I was like, you know
love
how stupid it is? They got those Windows stickers you always see on the laptops,
Yeah,
especially
the
from,
design for
the
Windows XP or whatever.
Yeah, the Windows XP era especially. Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be cool if we were designed for unrestricted software freedom and we actually wore one of those badges on our chest, like Superman, but with a penguin, right? So I was like, why not? Yeah, I'm gonna get mine ordered in here today, actually, because I got to make sure I have that for the fest. And definitely it's gonna be a fest shirt. I'm gonna be wearing both my shirts. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I also got EU options available as well.
Now, people, get the ordered so you can have the really cool shirts for the fest. And if you're really cool, you could also go over to lunduke.com and buy some socks. Linux Sucks the socks. I
need to get some socks. I got the hat, and I'm trying to do like the whole Schwartz thing here, but yeah, I got to get the socks because I was actually eyeballing those today.
Head to toe. I need to get pants and underwear, and then literally I could be completely decked out. I think of it like Spaceballs. Like, this is just merchandising. I need a flamethrower though I did realize something, and a couple of viewers pointed this out. I created Linux Sucks the socks because I was kind of playing off the Spaceballs thing. But someone pointed out that it's kind of a missed opportunity because I could have just done Linux Socks and that would have been good too.
Well, you do need a sequel, and socks generally reflect well on sequels. Why not have Linux socks?
Here's the thing.
I didn't realize, like some fine print.
With my clearly Mel Brooks influenced method of merchandising, the sequel to Linux Sucks the socks would be Linux Sucks the socks, the sequel, the quest for more money. I mean, that's really how I would roll.
The quest for better foot coverage. You got to get the marketing speak in there. And yes, Mel Brooks is awesome.
Mel Brooks is the best.
Yes.
One final thing I want to mention going on right now is the Linux Game Jam. It's listed if you go to this is the wrong website for it. This is the 2017 website. Well, the Linux Gamer, if you go to his YouTube page, he's got links for it. Mm-hmm. But they've got a Linux Game Jam. He did one of these last year where people have like a week, a little more than a week, like I think like 9 days to develop and create the art and everything for a Linux game, make their own Linux game. It's just a fun game jam. And cool. A bunch of people entered last year, came up with actually a lot of cool stuff. This year, they've got guest judges coming in to judge things. I'm going to be a guest judge along with Wendell from Level 1 Techs is going to be a guest judge. Cassidy, one of the UI designers from the Elementary OS project, the UX guy from that project. He also works at System 76. He's going to be a guest judge. I want to say there's someone else, but I don't remember exactly. But I have decided. And this starts tomorrow, though. This starts Friday. Everything's happening immediately. April is insane. It starts tomorrow. So if you want to get in on that, if it's not like the end of the day Friday yet, go to the Linux Gamer's YouTube channel, go to his website, whatever the heck that is, linuxgamer.info.fart.tv, I don't remember, and find the stuff for the Linux Game Jam, and I will judge you. And I have made a personal commitment to myself that when I judge people, I will do so using the persona of Judge Dredd the entire time. Specifically, not the comic book Judge Dredd, which is awesome, not the rebooted Judge Dredd that I did not see it based on principle, but the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd, the I am the law, that guy. I'm going to judge everyone based on that, and I'm going to be as intense about it as possible. I put up a Twitter poll asking, and if you've seen you've seen Judge Dredd, right, Matt?
Yeah, right, clearly, multiple times. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, and the future is Taco Bell, by the way, in case there's any need for clarification there.
Right. Well, Rob Schneider is in that movie, along with Sylvester Stallone, and he plays this totally goofy character. And so I put a poll up. I'm going to be Judge Dredd while I judge the Linux Game Jam. Who's going to be my Rob Schneider? Overwhelmingly, Twitter decided that Wendell from Level 1 Techs, like it was like 80% of the vote, should be my Rob Schneider. Thank you to Wendell for Level 1 Techs for not necessarily agreeing to be my Rob Schneider, but you are anyway. Oh, my Lord. It is almost 10 minutes into the show, and we haven't even gotten to the questions yet. There's so much Linux stuff going on right now. I'm just going to do this real fast here. Look at these printers. These are 3D printers. These are Lulzbot 3D printers.
Why you don't have 3D printer?
This.
I have 3D
Look at
printer now.
This right here. This right here is a penguin. It says Linux on the front and it says GNU on the back, which is cool. I printed it on that printer the other day and I put it up on YouTube and like 2,500 people watched it. I mean, not like that's like a big number, like it's like the smaller of the shows I do, but I did literally nothing. I was printing it anyway, and I put like my webcam on it, and I'm like, what the hell? And it was poorly lit and everything, and people, like 2,500 people watched this printout, and that's
you know, and that's, like we've established that production value is meaningless. Now we've just established that content is also meaningless.
It's meaningless.
Doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. I was about to make fun of people for watching it. So I posted it and I'm like laughing about it. I'm like, who's going to watch this? Like, I mean, 3D printing is awesome, but why would you watch something 3D print? And then I go back and like, I'm reading through the comments on the YouTube video and I scroll up to the top where it's playing already. And I just sat there for like 4 minutes watching it print. I already printed it. It's something I did, and I saw it print, and I'm holding it in my hand, and I'm just sitting there.
Oh.
I just watched it print for just nonstop. And anyway, it turns out it's damned mesmerizing watching Tux 3D print. Okay.
Okay, enough of that.
Enough of that. Questions. We got questions this. So the first one... great. It gets into the audio side of things. So this is from Matt. Brian and Matt, I friggin' love Linux. Welcome to the club, buddy. But my friends bring up one pain point in switching, which I've been unable to refute. Multi-track audio recording. Okay, here we go. That rules out Audacity. I tried Ardour once. The only passion it aroused was white, hot, burning hatred. Granted, it looks nice, but everything is point and click. All the shortcuts are dumb, and navigation made me feel like I was playing hopscotch with a wooden leg. Are there any other digital audio workstations for Linux?
Yes, Bitwig. That's where I would go. I would go Bitwig. It is proprietary, but it's a lot simpler than Ardour. So, you know, that, because I mean, the truth be told, there are some of the interfaces out there are a little less than awesome, but that would be where I would go. I'd go Bitwig for sure. I think you might have better luck with it. But more importantly, when you're doing this stuff, whatever application you choose, start with YouTube how-tos. Find a video on whatever you're trying to do, because they're going to show you how to do it with your mouse. You're not going to be reading an article on it. Right. Can't recommend that enough. Seriously.
Matt's totally right. Matt's absolutely right. So Ardour, I'm with you, buddy. It made me pissed off the first couple of times I used it. Probably the first dozen times I used it, I wanted to stab it in the forehead with an ice pick. I wanted to lobotomize it, like I don't know. I don't know what I've never lobotomized anything before, like the ultimate in lobotomization. But then I did what Matt said, and I went around, and there are a ton of good YouTube tutorial videos on it, not all doing the things I wanted to do, but after I watched about probably 45 minutes of it, I got the hang of it. It wasn't too bad. Ardour and Jack. The key. Ardour and Jack are the twin pillars of massive, awesome, totally free software audio production. Once you master Ardour and Jack, you're fine. You're set. But you're right. Ardour is hard to get used to, and Jack is enough to drive anyone to drinking until you get the hang of it, and then it's easy.
Well, and not to plug my stuff, but I did actually do a Patreon only video that actually shows people the most basic components of how do I make sound go from here to here and not rip my hair out and using the low latency kernel. There's more videos coming, but the point is that there are videos out there that you can find on YouTube that will show you how to do it. The key applications I would recommend, honestly, Cadence, for, you know, actually kind of your front end as far as accessing applications. And then as far as your routing itself, Claudia, do that and you're going to hate life a lot less. Do not use the other stuff. You're going to hate the alternative.
Everybody listen to Matt on this one. He knows of what he speaks.
I'm using Jack right now. So
same. I got Jack rocking here. I wasn't for a while, but now that I've got it rocking again here, it's just, I love you.
A lot of people don't know I actually sound like Mickey Mouse stuck in a garbage disposal, but thanks to the CAF plugins, I actually sound more like an adult with everything functioning as it should. So, you know.
If you want to hear him sounding like Mickey Mouse nonstop, make sure you get in person to Linux Fest Northwest. It's fantastic.
Yes, it's great.
I sound like literally laugh all day long at Matt. It's fantastic. But yeah, that is the way to go, man. The harsh reality is there is much less available good audio production software on the free platforms than there is on Windows or Mac. I mean, that's just the reality of it. However, once you get used to Jack and Ardour and a couple of others, those are the way I go. But honestly, Matt's right. There's a couple of other great ones as well. Once you get used to it, you'll be okay. Power-wise, capability-wise, yes, it is going to do everything you need, including support for VST plugins and the whole kit and caboodle. Even no matter how pro you go, it is absolutely doable on Linux without tearing your hair out. Yes. But watch Matt's videos first. That will help you a lot.
Yeah. Just generally speaking, like I said, everything Brian just said exactly, and just be willing to study up. Don't expect this to be like a Windows or OS 10 experience and you'll be okay. No. It's going to be a little different. You're going to be looking at Jack, think of a mixer. And as soon as you do that, it's going to make a lot more sense.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. From Jeremy. Hi, I was curious what you think about graphical programming environments. Here we go. That require less or no major typing on keyboards, and how this might spread the idea of empowerment to people who are forced to use computers and smartphones these days, and was wondering if you knew of any good environments like this for Linux outside of the more cross-platform interfaces like Blockly or Snap. I personally use various skins in Smalltalk, nice, preferring eToys as it's basically HyperCard on steroids with no corporate tomfoolery attached like LiveCode. For those of you who don't know what a lot of these things are, I'll explain in a moment. Also they ruin the simplicity of HyperTalk by increasing its dictionary 100-fold. You spend more time trying to figure out how to do stupid, simple things rather than just solving the problem yourself with just a few words that have a lot of flexibility. But is there anything Linux specific that is exclusive and is graphical programming interface? I'm not so much interested in capabilities of the language underlying or the quality speed of the programs made with it, just whether the IDE at least tries to reach people who don't type 80 words per minute but still have ideas of what they want their computer to do. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
That's a lot of stuff.
So graphical programming interfaces is kind of a big passion of mine. I used to actually build a cross-platform graphical programming tool called Illumination that I sold off when I stopped being a software developer full-time. The company that bought it from me then immediately ceased development on it, which made me incredibly sad. However, it is still available under the GPL, but I haven't worked on it. No one else really has either. That said, there are some options out there. It's not great. Honestly, most of the good GUI based tools, touching on the Smalltalk stuff, that's a way to go. You mentioned LiveCode, which is kind of a descendant, spiritually at least, of HyperCard and HyperTalk. But you're right, it is much more complex than it used to be, and it is much harder to pick up. There is a open source kind of re-implementation of HyperCard itself. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, which I feel bad about. But that's not even fully complete enough to really recommend people use it. There is a Visual Basic-ish programming environment that is called Gambas, Gambas. It is very Linux specific. It's based around the GTK toolkit, I believe. I haven't touched it in a long time, but it's very easy to pick up. It's less like the VB.NET stuff. It's not an all-powerful, weird C# bastardization mono-y thing. It's more like Visual Basic 5. So it's like old school, but not too old school. It's like the kind of Visual Basic you'd get with Windows 98. You know, it's
pretty old school.
It's not crazy easy to pick up, but it's not too hard either. And the applications do look and perform pretty well. There are a few other languages and visual development environments. One of my favorites is Lazarus. It's all free software or open source. It's a couple of different licenses, but it's based on Pascal, based on free Pascal, which is a crazy fast compiler. So if you're cool with Pascal, you're good to go there. Great visual design environment. I honestly do like LiveCode, But the trick with live code, and live code is HyperTalk-ish, is you just ignore all the fluff. Just focus on like a couple of things, like a picture box and a button and some text fields and whatnot, and then you essentially replicate the old HyperCard experience. There's also the proprietary closed source, shame, I know your name, Xojo, Xojo, which I've reviewed in the past. It has some benefits. It's an object-oriented basic dialect, but it is very, very visual and very newbie friendly. Like you drag a button onto a form, click it, type message box, hi, and then you're done. You know, it's very, very simple, but it is proprietary. They do have a free version that runs on Linux if you just want to make like free software. But if you make free software, it's relying on a proprietary compiler, which is all kinds of weird. But otherwise, you're kind of plumb out of luck. There's a lot of kid-oriented stuff like Scratch, but it's not going to allow you to make like a desktop GUI app. Scratch is really just focused on, you know, kids and drag and dropping visual blocks together.
So I could use it, is what you're saying. I could probably embrace
almost.
Yeah.
Mac can almost do it. Yeah, well, a little bit of help, but yeah, it's hard. Honestly, I feel like there's a lot we could do there. I feel like there's a big room for someone to come in and start something like that again. I've considered it in the past, starting something new with what I've learned from my past projects, but I've kind of gotten out of the software development game, so I'm leaving it all to Matt. Matt's going to take care of it for me.
Yeah, I'm going to take it over. I'm going to marry myself.
I appreciate that.
And just absolutely drink warm milk out of mason jars and code. It's going to happen.
God.
Actually, today's water, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm going with fruit punch out of a barbecue cup because that's what I feel like.
At first, I thought you said you were drinking it out of a barbecue, and I'm thinking that's commitment.
I
but
could
okay,
go with some barbecue,
if you got like
honestly.
a crazy straw with enough length, I think that could work.
We got we got Vincent, also known as All Logarithms Equal. Hi,
Nice.
Mr. Lunduk and Matt. Mr. Lunduk. I
Mr.
like
Lunduk.
that.
I've
That makes me
seen-
feel all fancy and old. I just wanted to say that I really admire your work. Thank
Nice.
you. I
Nice to
really
hear.
admire your emails. They are fantastic. All right, I'm going to skip a few of your words here just to kind of get to it. You got a few different questions going on. All right. What are your thoughts on the LibreBoot and CoreBoot projects? What is the best way to support those projects? How long do you think it will take for the firmware on more modern motherboards to come with or be easily replaceable with free software? Matt, do you run LibreBoot or CoreBoot on any machine?
I don't, but at the same time, I'm very, when it comes to firmware or BIOS or anything like that, I really don't mess with it unless I have to, or I have the need to replace my hardware because I did something stupid, usually user
Matt
error.
doesn't like to mess around.
No, I'm pretty cautious these days. There was a time I actually would have actually really into this, but I think right now it's a wait and see kind of thing. I want it to be a thing. I would love it if it was like pre-installed. That would appeal to me because then I'm not going to do something dumb on the user side of things and really screw it up. But I really like the idea of it. I just wish there was a way to get more people on board. Perhaps open source hardware will be the solution to that over time. Maybe that's where we see the adoption happen. I don't know. I think right now it's wishful thinking. I hope I'm wrong. I really want to be proven wrong on that in the long term. But I think right now we're still very much in the wouldn't it be nice stage. So,
well, so this is actually kind of a weird dovetail. So we've got a new sponsor in the show, Purism, right? Purism's sponsoring the Lunduk show.
right.
This
But that's
month.
pre-installed. And that's awesome.
And that's pre-installed. And see, so
awesome.
so like it's fantastic. So okay, we'll just talk about this really quickly right now because it's just a good moment. So Purism sells laptops, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've got 2 laptops currently shipping, another one that's about to ship, and then the phone, the Librem 5 smartphone that we all kind of know about. And they ship, I believe, CoreBoot right now, and then I think they're trying to ship LibreBoot. I believe I might have this incorrect even. So since the summer of 2017, our CoreBoot port is factory installed on all new Librem laptops. So you can get it right out of the gate. There's not a lot of places you can get these sorts of things from. So this is kind of one of the things that I was really excited to bring Purism on for. You guys know I don't bring on like cell phone manufacturers that
Sure.
make lockdown phones or
Exactly.
cell phone companies or people trying to sell you a mortgage or whatever the hell. Like, I only allow them to be on the show if they really walk the walk and talk the talk.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I said those right. I was in my mind.
You
It
got
was
it right.
backwards.
You got it right.
I was
These boots are
mentally
made for walking. You're
dyslexic,
good.
but verbally not. But Purism actually ships all their machines that way. And what's interesting is if you look around on Purism's website, puri.sm, Purism, they have actually like a timeline where they walk through getting free software certified. So I think this is kind of interesting. And I kind of would like to see some more manufacturers do this sort of thing. So their OS that they ship is Purism OS, right? Is basically just is free software certified. Like, so what's cool is literally Richard Stallman gave this operating system his stamp of approval. That's kind of a big deal, right?
That's kind of huge.
It's all based on current modern GNOME and all that sort of thing. The hardware, I think, is like they have like a timeline of all the steps they had to take in order to get to the point where the hardware can also be certified. And I want to say they've got like one step left or something like that. But already, it's shipping with Core Boot, not Libre Boot, but Core Boot, and all sorts of things. And that's really awesome. I wish it was easier to install it myself.
That would be nice. Yeah.
I don't see. I'm like Matt. There was a time when I would have seen, Core Boot has a 3% chance of not breaking my system. I'm installing that this weekend. Let's do this. We order a pizza, we chug a whole lot of Dr. Pepper, and we just try to not ruin our equipment. But I just don't do that anymore.
AMD chip, Intel chip, it'll fit in the slot.
It'll work. Shove it in.
I miss those days. Bent pins, no big deal.
Whatever. Socket, totally whatever. Fine. It's got a socket. It's fitting. I just don't do that anymore. I wish more hardware would support it. My guess is, so we're seeing Purism really pushing forward on that front. They really led the way in being a shipping company shipping this. I want to say they were one of the first, if not the first, that did this.
I think they were the first, yeah.
Just like they were one of the first, if not the first, that I know of that shipped the Intel Management Engine disabled. Like they're really on top of that. But what I've noticed is other companies follow suit. And other companies are looking at companies like Purism and saying, okay, they're seeing success. They're seeing people talk about it and praise the respect for freedom and privacy and whatnot. And there's no actual drawback to doing it, right? Like there's no drawback for the manufacturer. Like Dell. If Dell were to ship with Core Boot or Libre Boot, would it hurt their sales at all? Not at all. Would anyone even notice it? Just us. Like we're the only ones that are going to notice that. But then across Dell's product line, all of us would suddenly go, all right, I'm going to give Dell a second shot. I'm going to look at them.
Yeah, that's it.
Will they do that? I don't know. Honestly, I have my doubts about Dell, but there are other manufacturers, maybe Acer, maybe Asus, maybe System 76, maybe a whole bunch of others that I would hope would follow suit with those sorts of things. But for right now, as far as I know, if you want those machines shipping with a more free BIOS and all that, you kind of got to go to Purism. That's really the option. They're kind of the ones that have pioneered that. So it's an option and it's nice, but my guess is with the lead time for so many of these big companies like Dell, I think it's going to be a long time. Even if they decide to do it today, it's going to be like a year or two before they ship anything with it.
Dell's first thing they need to work on is they need to work on web page design. So I can actually figure out how the hell to find them. It's bad. But I mean, but that aside,
full deference to the we do have some friends at Dell that love Linux and really push Linux forward. Sure, they do. But Matt's right. Your website sucks, kids. You got to get that better.
It's like they have really great offerings. But a few tips that I would offer to the friends that watch Dell. First and foremost, if I'm buying a Linux box, stop recommending Microsoft Office to me. Just saying. That might be fun. Just being a little more conscientious about the offerings that come down in the drop list. Maybe modernize with something that's from the last 5 years as far as design. Just little things like that. The products are fine. I have no problem with that at all. And it would be cool to see Libre Boot and that sort of thing incorporated in. But I don't know if they're the audience at large that they're aimed at really is that motivated in that department outside of the Linux folks, and that's a challenge for them as well.
I think you're right now, but this kind of is interesting to me because I'm seeing a shift. Like people are all of a sudden freaked out about data privacy and surveillance on a level that they've never been before. Yeah, not since like the 1960s. But
does everyone understand it though? Like a lot of people see it on the news, and it's like, well, Talking Head Man says be scared now, but
so they're
government fixed things, so I'm okay. I mean, that's how they operate. We're the more informed individuals like you and I, and the folks that watch the show.
Oh, we've been on it for years. We've known. We've always known. Exactly. But we pay attention to these things. We understand these things, and I get that the topics are kind of complicated. But with the actions of Facebook, and then everyone in the news is even like, it's amazing. I turned on. God, what was I don't remember. It was last night. I was laying in bed and I had like a half hour to myself. Like my kids were in bed. The wife was taking a bath or something. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to watch some boob tube. And I turn on the TV and I'm like, I'm going to watch news. I don't watch news. I watch like cable news like once a week for just a few minutes. Right. And I'm channel surfing between CNN and MSNBC and Fox. I think I landed on Fox at the end. And I want to say it was the Tucker Carlson show, I think. And he was actually talking about technology correctly. It blew my mind. Yeah. He was talking about like,
when did this happen?
It was crazy.
Without a situation room? I mean, come on.
I don't know what's happening. And so come on. I've ranted about how the news media just can never talk about tech correctly. And they were getting the words right. And they made mention of, okay, all this Facebook stuff is happening. And in my mind, I'm thinking, great, we're just going to focus on Facebook and everyone's not going to learn the real lesson here. And we're going to forget that Google and everyone else is doing the same crap. And then the host of the show basically looks at the camera and goes, but of course, this is nothing new. Google does this and Microsoft does that. And I'm like, whoa, this is the mainstream media. I don't even know that they know how to use computers. And they're talking about it correctly? What happened here?
That's what producers are for. Exactly.
But if we're at a point where people can do that, right? Where they're actually talking about it correctly in real terms, not in, oh my gosh, look at this one bad company and Mark Zuckerberg's trying to steal your firstborn children, but like legitimately talking about it. And he might be, I don't know, but they're talking about it from the point of view of like, oh my gosh, this is a legitimate industry-wide concern and something that we're going to have to fix. Otherwise, our security is all kaput. And then they were praising companies leaving Facebook and other similar services. And I was like, dude,
that's really unusual for any channel TV, actually.
I'm like, this is on cable TV? What is going on? Like, it was very Twilight Zone-y. But if that's happening, I feel like there's a shift. And I kind of feel like if Dell wanted to take advantage of the moment, they would come out and say, you know what? Privacy is a big concern. Data collection is happening. Surveillance is almost unavoidable. Take every step you can. We'll help you. We'll disable IME on all machines by default. We'll ship with an open BIOS so you can have it security audited yourself. There's no secret code watching your kids undressing on a webcam or something creepy. Like it's a BIOS that's open. And like they could even if there's no other benefit for their business, just the marketing value of that is off the charts. That's a huge marketing win.
Yeah.
They could do commercials about that.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Like they could come out and be like, Hewlett Packard, Acer, Asus, we don't know what they're watching. It's all closed down. Are they looking at you? Oh, we don't know. Are they listening to what you say? Maybe, can't tell. Look at us at Dell. We've got it all open down here. You know we're not. They're not doing that. But if they did, huge marketing bonanza win. But right now, the only companies doing that are companies like Purism that are like us. They're people like us.
Exactly.
I think that's great because then those companies are just going to shoot up and win because I think it's just it's the moment. It's a tide is turning, man.
I've been
I
saying the
believe
same
it.
thing of baby monitors. There was actually an incident. Some of you guys may know this, to where baby monitors that can talk back have been hacked into, and let's play with mommy's jewelry. Let's go drown little Billy in the bathtub. I mean, just really creepy, terrible things. I'm the under beast from your under your bed that's going to come and eat your face, or whatever it is. These creepy, terrible things coming through baby monitors. Can you imagine having a kid? And yet none of the companies, as you mentioned with like Dell as an example, embraced that and said, man, we could really up the price and like do a privacy secured thing to where we really
like VTech makes a lot of kids toys that do that sort of thing. If they came out and said, you know what,
I mean,
because VTech does not release their stuff as open source, right?
No,
Like they make all these little kids toys like that. I got my kid this little tiny kid like stuffed animal that was VTech. It's fine, but you push a few buttons and it sings like "Let's talk about ABCs," whatever, right?
Teddy Ruxpin or whatever. Yeah.
But literally, you push and you turn it on, and it goes, "Go to vtech.com and download additional content." And it creeps me out, right? Of course, we never did that, right? It's not connected to anything, so it just tells us to do that all the time. But if VTech came out and said, "You know what? It's not okay. Kids' privacy is paramount. You never connect stuff like that for your kids. We're going to open source everything. There would be zero harm done to them. In fact, they make these little kid laptops. Little tiny kid ones that run off of like 2 AA's with an actual real keyboard and like a monochrome pixel screen. The battery life lasts for months on them. It's a cheap little machine, but if they open sourced it, you better believe people like me and you and a whole bunch of other people, adults, would go down and be like, I'm buying this baby laptop. And then we're going to hack it and throw our own OS on it and use Emacs on a baby laptop just because we can, because it's cool. It's just going to make their market go up. I fail to understand why some companies don't wrap their heads around the marketing bonanza that could be. Like the sales that they could do is huge, and yet they just never figure it out. I used to work in a big open source company in marketing, and I was the only Linux user in marketing. And simply talking about Linux was like pulling teeth. I was told repeatedly on multiple occasions to stop mentioning the words like open source. And that's not even a joke. And it's not because the companies are bad or anything like that. It's just the marketing people simply don't understand the benefits that they could get of free advertising simply by embracing like a couple of aspects of open source or free software. Like it's so easy, very little work, no drawback. It boggles my mind.
Well, and the commercials, you do it on YouTube. You do it with some college kids to do the whole thing for you. You do it cheap, right?
Do it totally
like the talking toy. It shows you guys, you're sleeping in bed and you wake up, this thing's sitting on your chest. Have you downloaded the software yet? And he like leans in closer.
Teddy Ruxpin loves you. I see when you're sleeping. Yep, it's creepy.
I know what you did last summer. I mean, you just really go off on it. And so I think that you could really market that very well. And even to a mainstream audience based on privacy. If you, again, it's shaping the conversation. You shape the privacy conversation, scare the hell out of people to where they really want to own your device versus the alternative. It's really easy to do.
It's
great.
You
do that all the time with other products.
You don't even have to pay to get the commercial out anywhere, because you do it well enough, you make it go viral, and then CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, all of them, they'll play your viral video about privacy on their shows and then email all of them about it, and you'll get way broader distribution than you ever could have paid for. If you would like to effectively market your company, contact Lunduke and Hartley. We'll tell you how to do it for peanuts, and you'll win. But oh my God, companies are ridiculous. These closed source companies just don't.
We will literally do it for peanuts. You could probably pay us in peanuts if it's the right kind. I don't know.
So my background, this is kind of just, I know we're way off on a tangent, but when I first got into open source, it was not because of the morals and the values of it. I got into it for business purposes because I was not mentally deficient. I could easily look at it and say, okay, if I simply embrace some aspects of open source and free software, I can take advantage of the market. Because that's what you do in a business. You open yourself up to multiple large, evangelical, highly motivated niches of individuals who are going to be excited because you now are doing something open source and free software. And so I got into it through that route, and it made sense. It was business sense. And over time, I became 100% converted to the equivalent of essentially a free software thumping zealot, which I had no regrets at all. But I don't understand how even the most ardent closed source people, how they don't look at that and say, you know what, I want to make money. It's like that movie Idiocracy. Yeah. You know Idiocracy, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. I want that.
I
chair,
like money.
Yeah.
If you're in business, you like money. So you want to make more money. Ergo, you want to have a larger total audience that might buy it. You want to have more motivated people who are going to evangelize on your behalf. And you want as much free positive marketing as possible. These are all good things. That's not even taking into consideration the open source investments of like you get other people to do your work for you. I mean, my God, people. Anyway,
seriously.
I know I'm preaching to the choir,
just
but
putting that out there. Well, I think it needs. Not everyone thinks of it that way, though. A lot of people might think of it from different angles, and this gets everyone's synapses running.
Yeah. So talk to these companies. So if there's companies that are doing things that are close that would benefit from that, just let them know. Make it free, and it'll be more awesome. Damoon asks, nice name, Damoon.
Yeah, right.
It literally is Damoon. Like, hey, that's Damoon. Dear Mr. Lunduke, what is your opinion on Cloudflare's new privacy-focused DNS resolver 1.1.1.1? Have you seen this?
No, I haven't, but I like the sound of it.
Okay, this is worth looking into. All right, so go on to YouTube or wherever. Cloudflare put up there's a video. Actually, I don't think they put it up. Someone else put it up. Cloudflare put up a privacy-focused DNS, and someone has a video of their random number generator for it. It's a wall of lava lamps. They have a camera pointed at, I believe this is Cloudflare, pointed at a giant wall of lava lamps for generating the random number generator. I believe that's Cloudflare. I could be wrong. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's not. I don't profess to be accurate about things.
Someone had lava lamps.
Someone has lava lamps. Go look that up. But the DNS resolver, I think privacy-focused DNS resolvers are a good thing. So Google has 8.8.8.8, their Google DNS. That makes me a little bit nervous because it's Google. But then again, Cloudflare, I don't know.
It is Cloudflare, by the way.
I like it's the lava lamp was Cloudflare. I got something right. That's it. That's all I need to do for the day. I like that there's privacy-focused DNS resolvers. I think more like things like that is good. I'm always a little bit skeptical whenever I see anything like that because I'm skeptical of everything. However, it does seem like a good thing. I mean, more privacy is better.
It's a good thing. Generally speaking, with anything that seems too good to be true, you always look at the hidden motivation. Freeware, shareware, lava lamp powered DNS servers, whatever the hell, So what's their hidden motivation, especially if it's being given away for free? So I think once you can identify that, and maybe they're looking to R&D something greater than that, then that makes sense. That's fine. But again, I think it's fair to be skeptical. It's fair to be question whether or not that's going to be something that's
skeptics are
truly
cool.
Yeah, skeptics are very cool, but maybe they just want to power some lava lamps. I don't know.
Right? I'm telling you, that lava lamp video was awesome. I mean,
that's marketing right there.
That's good marketing. Yeah. Open source and lava lamps. That's how you do it. Daniel, hey Brian and Matt. I have been using LibreOffice / OpenOffice for many years, and I've grown accustomed to its interface. But whenever I try and get a non-technical person to try it, they always expect an interface like that of Microsoft Office 2012 or 2016, commenting it looks outdated. Also, people who do know about LibreOffice often palm it off as the poor cousin of Microsoft Office, claiming that Microsoft's is far superior. My question is, do you think LibreOffice needs some kind of rebranding in order to stay relevant and attract more users, such as a more modern looking UI, but not so much as to affect longtime users? Love the show. Always the highlight of my week. This email was the highlight of my week, buddy. Although I do miss the short-lived Lunduke files. Maybe you bring that back soon. Probably not. I miss it too, but no one liked it but you and me, buddy. Hugs, Daniel. What do you think, man?
Well, so here's a couple different things you can do. There are alternatives to LibreOffice that also run on Linux, but I think the bigger issue, as far as staying on task to that whole thing, if someone doesn't want to use LibreOffice, great. Let them use whatever the hell they want. I've literally come to this conclusion that I no longer will try to get someone to switch to use a thing if they're not interested in trying something different. Does it look dated? I guess it depends on your perspective, or I don't know, you could theme it, one of the many theme options that are out there can make it look different. You can get different icon sets for it. You can make it look more modern. There's even a ribbon-like interface option you can actually implement if you really want to confuse yourself and frustrate people like me. I don't know where anything's at when you do that, but that's available. If that's still not working.
I hate it. I looked at it once and I hated it. I hated everything about it. The whole darn thing. I went right back to the old.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so there are alternatives. One that comes to mind is OnlyOffice, and I want to say, I think it may be open source, but I'm not 100% on that. I do know that Linux is available. You can do that, and it certainly has more of a modern feel for people that want that. So that would be an option. There, and just going to an alternative to .NET and kind of checking out what's available for Linux. That's another alternative people can try. That being said, if people value having an alternative that's really reliable, been really well developed, and does its job, LibreOffice is great. And if someone doesn't want to use that, great. Quit supporting them. Seriously, let the next time Office takes a poo-poo on them, and it'll happen, let them figure out where their license key went. Let them figure that out. That's been my philosophy. I simply won't support people to do it anymore. Not anything malicious. I just don't care. You're not on my radar.
So, you're not real to me.
You're not real. Yeah, it's like you're not LibreOffice.
I know.
Palm, right? I mean, so I think it's time for tough love. I think it's time to stop trying to get people to use things that they're probably never going to use. They like their experiences. They like the license keys and the frustrations and the lost USB drives or DVDs and all that fun stuff. Or, oh God, where'd I put that disc? We don't have to worry about that. Let them deal with it. Fine.
People like what they're used to,
Yeah, seriously.
Like that's just the realistic thing is that they're used to Microsoft Office, and so they don't want to change. It's fine. I mean, fine, use it.
Whatever. Go ahead. Just don't ask me for help when you break it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Now that said, I have heard a lot of people say, "Oh, LibreOffice, it's good enough," and that really does paint the entire application suite in a negative light. That's not the right way to be presenting it, because the reality is LibreOffice is mega powerful and is far more than good enough. They're just like anything, you can find ways to poo-poo on it, right? You could say that the default user interface looks old and outdated, and you know what? You're right. It does look a little older. Like it, and not
the
that
default
not
interface. That's the
default. That's the
it.
default. But you can theme it. You can change it. And different distributions. Sometimes we even change the icons out and all sorts of things. I prefer to look at it as retro cool. You get a good set of really pixelated icons going on, and for me, it's just fantastic to see. LibreOffice does not only everything I want it to do, but an awful lot more. And I have a problem if I'm like Matt, if I sit down in front of the latest Microsoft Office, which, to be clear, I used to build Microsoft Office. I was on the Microsoft Office team. I worked on Microsoft Word for Mac OS X, the very, very first one, Microsoft Office X. I worked on that for several years at Microsoft. That's what I did. I know it inside and out, literally the code. I literally, the programmability of it, all of it. I know it backwards and forwards. Yet when I sit down to modern Microsoft Office, I hate it. I hate the experience.
Yeah, I can't deal with it.
I can kind of figure out where stuff is, but it's not intuitive. It's slower and more cumbersome to use. For a power user, it just doesn't make sense. For a writer, it doesn't make sense. I mean, this is what Matt and I do. We write things and we do stuff, and it is not a workflow that makes sense. And so honestly, if you made Microsoft Office current version completely GPL'd and free software right now and ran great on Linux, and you put it right next to LibreOffice, I would choose LibreOffice. That doesn't mean Microsoft Office is bad. It just means it's not meant for people who write words.
Well, and you're getting back to theming, the icon themes. Right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different icon styles to choose from, some of which actually look really good. Some of them look like cartoon characters, but some of them look really good. So you do have options available.
There are some really nice ones.
You can make it. It's like, oh, you think it's ugly? Here, give me 5 minutes. Okay, there you go. You're done.
Yeah. It's really not bad. So yeah, I think honestly, I think the LibreOffice Foundation could do a better job in the way they phrase things and the way they present things. Their website's a little, but doesn't mean it's bad. It just needs some work. It needs some spit and polish. But the application itself is pretty amazing. I mean, it's amazing. Realistically, it's great. And anyone who says, oh, it's too old or it doesn't do what I need it to do, well, they're wrong. They're just simply wrong if they feel like, let's say Microsoft Word can do things that LibreOffice in writing mode can't do. They're at least for them, realistically, for what most people do, they're just totally wrong.
Exactly. When you go to LibreOffice, the website, and their big selling point is it's a fun project.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
that's wrong. That's the wrong way to market it. It may be
fantastic
a really
people.
Project.
Okay, that's exciting. I mean, so I agree with you.
Yeah, right.
So
the headers on our source code are really pretty. Like, no, that's not the way you
we've got Crayola colors. Which,
market the coolness of open source, but not that way. Well, here's kind of a dovetail to the marketing thing. Cool. This is from Brian with an I. He makes a point. Brian and Matt. Brian with the incorrect spelling with a Y. I've been using Linux for about 10 years. Most of the time when I talk to average computer users, the only thing they know about Linux is that it exists. That's true.
I'm surprised you got that far. Most people are like, what?
They don't realize that it's a viable alternative to other operating systems. How hard would it be to get the different distributions and organizations surrounding Linux to pull together on generic Linux advertising aimed at average users? I think having a large user base would help eliminate a lot of problems that Linux faces today, or would it not be worth the effort? Thanks, Brian with an I, Brian with the correct spelling. I'm going to let Matt talk first, because I think if I start talking first, I'm going to start screaming at a couple of specific organizations. So Matt, you go ahead and start.
So I remember the most recent example. Actually, Brian was doing a show at one point, and he had a guest from Dell and a guest from System 76 on. And I actually brought on a point of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you, advertised on the biggest marketing platform on the universe, known as Amazon, and actually did a unified page that presents Linux in a positive light, why people care, using your marketing know-how to really make that happen. I was met with meh. And it's like, okay. And I understand why. I understand that they've got their laser focused AdWords crap that that's working for them. I personally think it's the wrong approach, but that's fine. It's maintaining your echo chamber. Cool. So so I personally I don't think it's ever going to happen, because I've tried this with other people as well. I even reached out and actually was in talks at one point many years ago with a company called Edimax. They make wireless adapters. Yeah. I actually got pretty far up the ladder with them, and they were interested for a while, and then they began to realize, honestly, we looked at the numbers and it just doesn't make sense for us. At the time, I was actually looking at coming up with something that was a branded, guaranteed to work on these distros. This is before it was as great as it is today, by the way. This is a long time ago. It's like 802.11b, 802.11g era. Companies as a whole, unless the numbers are already in existence, it's really hard to get them to get real motivated about a thing. If they got something they feel comfortable with, if they're a smaller company, they're not going to take a risk. If they're a larger company, they just don't care. That's kind of the problem we have. As far as distros cooperating with each other, they can't even seem to do that with packaging. I don't know if that's going to happen with, or even, I don't know. I think at some level they exchange ideas and libraries. I see that like Solus and Elementary working together and stuff, pitching some stuff to Ubuntu.
There's some stuff. There's some mutual things there.
Yeah. But I don't think it really goes farther than that. I think there's some exchange of different data and ideas and concepts, but I don't think a full on. I wish that wasn't the case, but this is based on my own personal experience. I've been down this road for a long time. I've actually been in the trenches with it for a long time.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah, it's like,
back when I had real hips and jaws and joints.
Back when I was all idealistic and thought the stuff was going to happen. Yeah, I was so naive. I had no idea what I was getting into. I pitched companies on all kinds of stuff. It's just, honestly, good luck with it. If you can do it, you're a better man than I am. I don't know.
So I have many thoughts. This is actually an amazingly good question, and I think it's an amazingly important topic, because just like Matt said, both of us have been down this road in our younger idealistic years, and we were either met with the world's biggest brick walls and face palms, or just mild indifference. So taking this from a couple of different points of views, the distributions. the distributions working together is never going to happen on a broad scale. In individual cases, you'll see systems like Pop! OS and Elementary or Solus or a couple of distros here and there that will cooperate on an individual project. OpenSUSE and Fedora work together a little bit on like automation testing frameworks, and different projects will work together on things. One-off sort of scenarios. For the most part, they view themselves, for better or worse, and I'm going to get yelled at because people will try and claim I'm wrong on this, but I'm friggin' right. And this is coming from someone who, again, has been around a lot of these distros. How many distros have we used, and for how many years? It's ridiculous. And I currently sit on the board of one of them. This is how it is. Silos. They are independent silos, and then they reach out in little tidbits to cooperate here and there. And I love it when they do.
Downstream, certainly, sure.
A little upstream, downstream, but for the cross-distro collaboration, it's utter train wrecky chaos. I mean, one of the greatest examples to me was Snappy, right? Was Ubuntu's development of Snappy, and this is not to say the technology's bad, but the way they handled it, they made enemies in the process. Like they made a big press release claiming they were working with people that they weren't even working with, and also like Fedora project was like, we aren't working with you. What the hell are you talking about? Or OpenSUSE, that was me, and they weren't. There was all sorts of stuff like that, and many projects just end up with these burned bridges and don't want to work together. And then the desktop environments, try to get the GNOME and KDE folks to work together. They will murder each other. I mean, there will be murdering, and it's not because they're bad people on either side. They're really good, passionate, amazing, talented people on both sides, but they just won't do it. I mean, occasionally in little tidbits, but generally, no. And so getting them to all work together on anything, even a marketing messaging scheme, will never happen. The organizations that are there to do this are twofold: the industry organizations and the companies focused on Linux. The companies focused on Linux will never do this. I fought tooth and nail to get like SUSE and Red Hat to do some co-marketing togetger, because why wouldn't SUSE,
sense, right?
Red Hat, Canonical, and maybe Nextcloud and OwnCloud and Nginx and like a whole bunch of companies come together and just be like do a full-on like, what's up? We're Linux. We're friggin' everywhere, and we're rad as hell. Like, and just like all of our logos, everybody being awesome together. Choose what you want. Either way, you can't go wrong. Little differences here and there, but it's cool. Like, it would have been amazing. Never took off. Couldn't get any traction with it. I managed to. There's one example of co-marketing between SUSE and Red Hat that you'll be able to find. It's up on YouTube after pushing for the Linux 25th birthday. I managed to get the folks over at Red Hat and some of the SUSE folks to like sing the happy birthday song to Linux, and I kind of stitched them together. Right. But because of how it all came together and when people finally agreed to let me do it, it all had to happen slapdash at the last minute, and the video came out crappy, and I was pissed off about it. And then I just went and hyperventilated for a while. And then there's the industry associations.
Exactly.
Which is the Linux Foundation. When do you see the Linux? The Linux Foundation is in a perfect position. They've got Canonical and Red Hat and SUSE and so many other companies that are invested into desktop Linux, into server Linux, into mobile Linux, and all of it. The Linux Foundation could be out there doing a marketing push. But instead, the only thing you see Linux Foundation marketing is Linux Foundation products and services and Linux Foundation events. That's where they spend their money marketing. And most of the Linux Foundation events don't usually talk about Linux all that much. They focus on enterprise open source stuff, mostly open source, but not really. But yeah,
just write your check here.
But realistically, they're the ones that should be doing this, and they're not, which kind of fuels a lot of people like me and Matt and so many other people's grumpiness towards them, because they could be doing something amazing in this regard. And you know, do you remember the hi, I'm Linux thing that SUSE and Novell did like 7-8 years ago?
That was awesome. The young woman, it's the two guys and the young woman next to them.
Yeah, so it was a parody on the hi.
Super easy.
I'm PC, I'm a Mac, and then they had a nice young lady came in. Hi, I'm Linux. And the two, like the Mac and PC guys look at her and they're like, oh, how long you been there? She's like, a long time.
Exactly. And she was able to identify actionable things that are awesome about Linux in a non-threatening, non-irritating, berating way that were just factual.
I can't even take credit for that because that was several years before my time at SUSE, but that was fantastic. And I would love to see like a Linux Foundation come together with those sorts of things. It's not a huge money investment. It's just merely that they have to want to do that sort of thing. And it's like Matt said, you start mentioning this to people and they're just like, even if it's easy, because they don't want to go down that road. And
the last time anyone tried was IBM and the Children of the Corn kid. They're teaching this kid in a sanitarium.
The little kid and then the IBM mainframes behind him.
Yeah, he's learning. Well, yeah, you're teaching him stuff. Weird, right? And then Benjamin Sisko from Deep Space Nine makes an appearance, and he's talking to him, and it just gets weird. I don't really fully understand what the hell the purpose of that was, other than Linux is learning. I don't, so that was IBM's attempt.
I don't know. He's learning. It was a really weird thing.
A shiv out of the toothbrush, man.
It's just like fashioning a shiv out of the toothbrush. All right, I got one. Oh my gosh!
You got to kill the process, man. You got to kill the process.
Seriously. Also, Linux companies, if you would like to know what you're doing wrong and how to properly market your products, contact Lunduke and Hartley. Our fine officers will get back to you within 24 hours.
No shit in your marketing. Don't worry.
I want to point out this episode is also sponsored by Pogo Linux. I did a video yesterday with a guy from Pogo Linux, from Paul, and he came on with some of the most insane configurations I think I've ever seen. It was just absolutely awesome. Go watch that video. It was tons and tons and tons of fun. You can pretend like it's not Pogo Linux or a sponsor of the show doing it. It doesn't really have anything to do with the sponsorship. It's just that's what they do. And he was showing me like drives, these where you can fit in a 1U rack a full petabyte of flash storage. And that just blew my mind that that's even possible. And so he was like walking me through these configs. Anyway, Pogo Linux does amazing server setups, amazing workstations, some of the most amazing storage solutions I think I've ever seen. I mean, not just a petabyte of storage in a 1U unit, but other stuff also. You can find out more over PogoLinux.com. Also, Pogo Linux will be up at Linux Fest Northwest. So if you want to meet them in person, if you want to meet the amazing and infamous Paul, who everyone likes to liken to Breaking Bad, he'll be there in person at Linux Fest Northwest. All right. Last question. Okay. Shake it off. This is from Chad. Hey, Brian and Matt. I apologize if it's a bit long for Linux Thursday, but I have a few questions if you don't mind. It's not actually that long, but apology duly accepted, Chad.
Yeah, no worries.
First, the video showing the printing of the 3D Tux was awesome. Thanks for showing us. People really like watching this guy get printed out. I don't know why, but he's adorable, but it's cool. I was curious what program you use to print with the Lulzbot Mini. Cura, C-U-R-A. It's great free software, open source printing application. Does great. It slices everything, and actually there's a Lulzbot specific edition, and it's all open. Like you can go grab the code from the Lulzbot
kind of
servers.
Their version.
Right. I mean, they work on a lot of those things. Like they work with the Blender project on some stuff as well. They do all sorts of things. But yeah, I use Cura. It works amazingly well. And they have it pre-set up so you can just say, I'm using this printer and I'm using this filament. So you don't have to monkey around with like temperatures and print speeds and everything. It sets all that for you. So that's why I use that. Yeah. I mean, there's other great tools. Don't get me wrong. And plain vanilla Cura is great too. But I'm so lazy that really helps me. If you guys want to see more of those, let me know. I can do more because I'm printing things constantly. I literally did that on a whim because of the way my studio was set up. I was just able to move my camera a little bit and do it. If you want more, just let me know. All right. So I'm also a Windows 10 user looking to escape. I understand, man. being a Windows 10 user is like being in Cube. You ever seen the movie Cube?
Oh yeah, that's actually very that's
it's like you're in Cube and you need to get out, but if you go through the wrong door at the wrong time, you get sliced by lasers into like 1,000 pieces. It's terrible. Is there a Linux distro you'd suggest minus the pointy orange data grab while still using
That's funny.
While still using similar commands from the terminal? I've started with a full install of Ubuntu Mate 1604 on an 8 gig flash drive, and I don't want to lose progress in my learning of Linux, like, apt and everything else, when I do a full install of a distro to my SSD if possible. What would I go with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on, like, if you're a Windows power user versus just someone that's casually familiar with Windows. I'm going to assume you're probably a Windows power user.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
I think that's fair to say.
Ubuntu Mate is a pretty good choice. Elementary is good. MX Linux is good.
Elementary.
Yeah, I think I would try a few different distros, because usually what happens is you kind of jump on the first distro, it appeals to you. You try it, maybe you get burnt by something, and you're like, ugh. And so I would definitely kind of mix it up a little bit. I would try. Those are the three I would probably try. That would be kind of my go-to.
I think Matt's right on that. Yeah.
Look for anything that's got kind of an LTS in the name. That's a huge one for me, because it's generally been in the oven a little more. So.
Matt's right. Give Elementary a try. See how you like it. It's a much more Macintoshy interface in many ways. I mean, it's not like a clone, but it has some obvious
thing for you. I think, especially if you're really into visual consistency, that's going to be your home. If you just want stuff to work really well, Ubuntu Mate is great. If you want to set Ubuntu on fire, MX Linux is your go-to. It's Debian.
You've been loving the MX lately.
Yeah. Well, and here's what's cool. There's no PPAs. Whatever app you're looking for, it's already there. Just install it. Yeah. OPS. Right there. Proprietary. Open source, doesn't matter. It's available. You can install it without having to go hunt for it. So, there's a lot of cool tools there. You can set up custom stuff. Yeah, those are all great choices.
Those are all fantastic choices. I've been using just stock Debian a lot lately, but honestly, as great as that is for your first foray, because stock Debian kind of veers away from like proprietary drivers and binary blobs and stuff, it can be a little bit more tricky with like wireless chipsets and graphics cards. It's a great end goal destination that will let you keep all of that same knowledge you've been building up on the command line, because Ubuntu is Debian. It's Debian with some stuff added and some stuff taken away. So just go to anything Debian based is going to be fine. Ubuntu Mate is a good choice. Elementary would be my main recommendation there. It's nice. It's great. You can still use the PPAs. You're basically at the Ubuntu repositories. It's a good choice overall. P.S. An ASCII art episode of the Lunduk Show at 240p would be great, in my opinion. I couldn't agree more, my friend Chad. I did that video earlier this week. I don't know if any of you guys saw that about basically just saying, 4K is dumb. Because
that was at 360 or whatever it was.
I did it at 480p. But after I did that, the reactions I got from that were so polarly mixed. Like, people were like, yeah, this looks great like this. Honestly, you could even turn it down further. Thank you for making something that plays well on my machines, blah, blah, blah. And then other people were like, I hate you. 4K is tight. And it was all mixed. It was fantastic. That was just the right response. Thank you to everybody.
And if it's on YouTube, for Pete's sake, you can pick the resolution you want.
Turn it up and down. It's really fine. Right? No, I agree with you on that one. You can just turn it up and down. It's fine. But I do like the idea of doing an episode ASCII art, like send it through like an FFmpeg filter and have it all ASCII art. Honestly, I'm gonna put out a guess. If I did that, I bet it would get viewed more than most of my videos.
Oh, and if we could do like synthesizer voices, like totally us, like we're in Styx or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, right? I was also thinking about it a little bit, and like those early 1990s like videos, like do like the Amiga video toaster swooping logos and the flips and whatnot, and then the old style on VHS tapes and whatnot.
Star Swipe.
I think we did this show in that style, I think it would be even more popular. I think it would be more popular than it currently is. As crazy as that sounds, there's something glorious about that. It's more raw and authentic or something. I don't know. Anyway, an ASCII art episode of this show kind of feels like it might be in the future. I kind of might have to do that. Yeah. All right. I think that's all that's going on right now. One other last thing. With Linux Sucks coming up and Linux Fest Northwest and all that, I did this 2 years ago and it was really, really fun. I put out a call and I said, who has horror stories about Linux? And then I took like the 4 or 5 of the funniest ones and I read them on stage during Linux Sucks at the very, very end. I'm going to do that again this year. So if you have horror stories that you would like to submit to be in the running for like this is the very end of the show. It's kind of like a show's over, but here's some funny things people sent in. Send it in. You can either post it on Twitter, #Linux Sucks, and I'll just kind of look through them, or you can email them to me with the subject line Linux Sucks, and I'll just go through them all before the show and find the ones that make me giggle the most, and I'll read a couple of them. So if you'd like to submit your horror stories or why you think Linux is the suckiest thing ever, mostly I want horror stories. I want where you screwed up or where Linux boned you or where you destroyed your grub. I want to hear about the awful stories. I want
you're talking like missed deadlines, hose data, things like that. Yeah.
I lost my job. I lost my truck. I lost my dog. I want to know all of it. I want it to be just brutal. No, I want it to be real though. No making up stuff. So if you've got real horror stories, especially if you can tell me what happened technically, like I did this 2 years ago. Like half of all the people that sent it in were people doing like commands like rm-rf, a few directory spaces too high, and just wiping out their machine. Things like that, totally fine. But like how you screwed up, include that from a technical point of view because that makes it extra fun. Anyway, if you'd like that, #Linux Sucks or email me with Linux Sucks and maybe it'll make it in the show or maybe it won't. I'm really lazy, so it's really, really hard to tell. Okay, Matt.
All right.
Is there anything else we need to tell these glorious people that are watching right now? Probably. I can't think of it.
Probably. As far as the content's concerned, no.
freedompenguin.com/shirt2. Go check out his shirt. Yeah, he's got a second shirt, guys.
Shirt 2.
It has a name. It's Shirt the Sequel. So go check out Matt Hartley's shirt, or you can check out my socks.
Yeah, see what you do is you get the shirt and the socks, and then you get a match. Because I got like the hat, and socks are on my shopping list. Yeah, right. And I'm actually going to be ordering the shirt because I really like the idea of having something that's representative of that Windows XP era, designed for label that appears on a laptop, but it's on my chest, and I'm designed for a thing.
Yes, you're designed for a thing.
I've got shorts on my feet. I got the hat. Shorts on my feet. That doesn't.
I wonder if I can get shorts printed up with some stuff on them. Because I feel like we're just missing a few pieces.
Shorts.
Yeah,
open source shorts. That would be hilarious, and totally free of a trademark. Why not?
I'm pretty positive.
Open source.
All right, everybody.
Shorts. That's funny.
If you guys can come up with a great, like, very small set of words, like 2 or 3 words to put on a pair of shorts that's Linuxy or open sourcey, that's extra fun. I don't know, like maybe an untar command line or something on the back. Tweet it to me, or email me, or post it to the YouTube comments or something so I can see them. Yeah. I'm gonna find a way to make some sort of bottoms. I don't know how yet. I don't even know who's gonna print them for me, but I'm gonna find a way to make bottoms.
An untar command on the waistband, especially in the front, would be pretty funny. Right? Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Yeah.
Right. Dash XY.
Yeah.
Dash XYZ. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, go away. Go watch things that Matt does. Matt has a Patreon. Find it.
Yeah.
Find it in the URLs. I'll link to it. It'll be fantastic. Matt, say a word that will inspire everyone for the next week where they can't have a new Lunduk show, but they want to be inspired. What's that word that's going to inspire them, my friend?
ASCII.
Oh, you mean like ASCII art? Like ASCII.
ASCII art.
I thought for a moment you'd said two separate
like
words.
ASCII, like ASCII. It's kind of like hoodie. Yeah. No. ASCII art.
Okay. We're on the same page now. This sounds fantastic. This is very inspiring for me. I should stop recording now.